I always wanted to be an architect originally, perhaps a doctor.
I was a weapons operator, so I'd sit in an operations room and I'd guide missiles against enemy aircraft and enemy ships.
I wanted to be a football player when I was very young, at the age of 10 years old. I knew that there was something else that I wanted to do career-wise.
When I was a teenager, I really did enjoy a bit of everything. So I played various musical instruments, played the piano, and I did singing, played the drums, played the guitar, was in bands and groups and things like that. I loved different sports. I was a goalkeeper in our local football team. I played badminton, snooker, lots of different interests. At the same time, I liked being with people. I like going out with friends and socialising like everybody does. And it was really hard to identify one career that has all of those aspects. But I did a little bit of a work experience in a school, just for a week, I think it was, or 2 weeks. And then in that 2 weeks, you realise that job gives you everything, all of those elements, because you can do all the things that you really enjoy, but perhaps some of those things that you haven't had as skills or interests become interests at the same time, because it's so wide-reaching. You get to experience lots and lots of different subjects.
It's a profession that you want to get into if at the end of every day you want to walk home or drive home or however you do, and say, today I've made a difference to a young person's life. And it could be on a short-term scale that one lesson was really good and that student has said, Sarah, that was a really good lesson, thanks for that, I learned a lot. Or if at the end of year 11, at the end of their educational journey, they come to you and say, I've got where I am today because of you.
I worked with very young children, which initially wasn't really in my plan for where I saw my career going potentially, working with sort of 4 or 5-year-olds. And actually I found it a really, really positive experience. Children really loved working with me because they were quite used to seeing a lot of females around the school, so actually there's already an initial excitement about there being a male in the classroom and want to talk to you and talk about what you've done and what you're doing.
Having a real passion for your subject is important as well. I mean, I've always been really passionate about history right from a young age, and having the opportunity to pass that passion on in teaching is just was made to fit for me. That was perfect.
I just really find it really inspiring to work with children. And I would always I would always champion primary school teaching for males, especially because there's so many broken families nowadays that males are really needed in primary schools. And even, I mean, all the sort of female teachers I've spoken to have also championed that. They've said, like, it's so good that, like, seeing male teachers come through because kids need male teachers at the end of the day.
A career in teaching for me was more about me looking back on my own education and recognising how disengaged I felt with my own education. Not particularly poorly behaved, disengaged. And I never wanted that to happen to anybody, any young lad, any young girl. I just wanted to enthuse and to encourage them and to help them to engage in education.
It was when you do your placement in secondary school and you do like a cross-module kind of thing and you have to go in, basically do a bit of work experience and you can go anywhere you want, and I chose to do a primary school, and it was a local primary school, and I went in there and I remember going into this classroom and sat down and I listened to this teacher and I was like, that is amazing. All of these children just like staring right at her and just like completely transfixed by what she was going to say next, and it was amazing. And I thought, what a job to be in when you've got that much like respect and all those children just want to learn from you and you're teaching them their foundations, because it was a year 1 class and that teacher was teaching them everything that they're going to know for the rest of their lives. And I think that was just amazing.
It's probably one of the most interesting jobs you'll ever do. Like, no day will ever be the same.
That's what I like about it, because I think if I was sitting at a desk, I'd get so bored out of my mind. Thinking about teaching, every day is different. I mean, you like go on school trips one day, you go out in the woods another day, be in the class one day. It's just always different. That's what I love about it.
I always grew up in Lee Park and was there for 25 years. And what I know of my schooling and my upbringing, it wasn't always easy, but at the same time I knew that I wanted to give back, as it were. I know that sounds a bit cheesy, but actually it did mean a lot to me, and what I wanted to do was actually show people that you could be brought up and born in an area that was seen as deprived and not really aspirational. However, I wanted to fight against that and actually show people that you can do that.
The career progression is pretty much how you would like it to be. You can pick and choose the areas that you're interested in. There's always plenty of support and plenty of encouragement and an ability with the right work ethic, with the right training, to go as far as you absolutely want to go. And that's my plan, is to go and become a head teacher at some point in my career.
The pensions are also excellent, and although that receives a lot of bad press at the moment, it is, I think it's still rated as the second best pension scheme in the country, next to police. I think you have the highest one probably, and then teachers are still rated second. So although there have been some changes, the actual package you get as a teacher is reasonable, I think, and significant.
In terms of progression, there's obviously two routes that you could go towards. There's head of department, assistant head principal, or you can go towards the pastoral routes, which are heads of years, where you get a lot more communication with students, that allows you to speak to them outside of school and kind of find out what sort of lifestyle that they're coming from.
You can be a class teacher and a really skilled class teacher. You may take on the role of a lead practitioner. You may decide that you want to be a year leader and take on the role of a year lead or a key stage coordinator, move on to deputy headship, and then from deputy headship you could go on to head of school, you could be a head, or you could go on to executive headship. You might then go on to sort of the inspectorate at that either stage of that, or you could even end up in teacher education.
The other excellent thing about schools is that you work with children, and children give you the most honest feedback from anybody. So actually getting professional development from children is brilliant. It's much better than sitting down with your performance appraisal person or whatever, because the children will tell you very, very quickly, that was a really boring lesson, or whatever it might be. So there is no escape from that kind of feedback from children. And one just before I did this interview told me that my hair needed sorting out. So hopefully it's not too bad.
Teaching gives you the opportunity to really challenge yourself. For myself, I'm a really competitive person, and I always strive to be the best. Within teaching, there's no real ceiling. There's always room for progression. There's always more opportunities that you can go and seek. And for me, it's about being the best that I can in my position.
In your third year, you get to do an international placement, or you can just do a placement of like your choice. I went to America and it was just such an amazing experience. I would love to go back and like do teaching there.
You'll get a lot of opportunities to go teaching abroad anywhere, like literally the world is your oyster. So I'm going to Fiji in the summer to help build a school and also teach in it. Especially if you're a man, you will get lapped up by anyone. They really are crying out for men, and it's so fun.
I went to the Gambia over the summer and I did 2 weeks working in a primary school over there, and that was just, I mean, they had so little resources, it was incredible. They literally have a blackboard and chalk, that's it. And their teaching style is just so different to how we teach over here. We have like whiteboards and so many resources, like too many resources. And they've literally got a bit of paper, and that's it. That's all the kids have, and that's all the teachers have. They don't have anything to do. It's just you go out there and you think how lucky we are.
We're all here for the same cause. We're all here for the students. We all have a passion for teaching and a passion to see real progression in our students' work.
I'll tell you this, you spend 80% of your life at work, you might as well enjoy that 80%.
They call it those light bulb moments where you just, I don't know, you see you're having an impact on the children's lives, and you just see them, and you see yourself having a positive impact, and that just makes you want to carry on and keep doing it and just keep having those more light bulb moments with the kids.
It's not about the money to me, it's more of the enjoyment and satisfaction I get out of teaching young children.
It's just amazing sometimes what you do. When I think back to what I've done in my career, from like technology to PE to music to art to geography to history to French, I've taught science. It's just varied.
Now, being here, it is the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Or what society thinks is correct for what you're supposed to do.
Go ahead and do it.
You don't want to be normal.
Just turn up.
To medicine, and more or less maybe I rebelled against that.
I think everyone should have a